So I wanted to come up with a recipe that really represents the culture, man. Represents how we do it in the South, represents how black people do it, and this is that recipe. So first let's get the cabbage cleaned and cut. I'm gonna take off this top layer and just toss it in the trash. Then I cut the ends off and toss those in the trash as well. And next I want to just cut the cabbage heads in half so I can remove that hard core in the center. We're just going to cut that out with our knife. Next I just took those halves, placed them face down, and just cut them into wedges. Once I got them all chopped into wedges, I went ahead and chopped those in half just to make sure I was getting a nice manageable bite each time. You don't want a big whole leaf of cabbage when you bite into it. Okay, so here is where I start to deviate from the traditional Southern fried cabbage way of doing it, because I need to cook this cabbage down before I can put it in the skillet and take it to the grill. And normally that would be done in a skillet with some oil. But instead of cooking it in oil on the stove, I'm just going to parboil it for a few minutes to reduce the volume of it down enough to put it in my cast iron skillet. Boiling it on the stove like this also saves a lot of time versus the time it would take to get that cabbage to cook down that way on the grill. Plus, to me, there's really just no reason to boil anything on the grill. Alright, so while my cabbage is cooking down on the stove top, I'm going to go out here and get my grill set up for a low and slow cook. Here you can see I've made a pile of unlit coals on one side of the grills, and I have a handful of lit coals here in my charcoal chimney. And I'm just going to pour those over to one side of those unlit coals. They will gradually and slowly light those unlit coals and give me a nice, even, low temperature over a long period of time. Back inside, my cabbage is starting to cook down, so I want to get some more ingredients going. I already cut up some bell peppers and some onions, and since I don't have any bacon, I'm going to use these Earl Campbell's links. I think that'll be good. Once those are cooked down a little bit, I'll add some minced garlic right there at the end. Checking back in on my cabbage, I can see that it's cooked down quite a bit, so I think it's time to start adding it to the skillet a little bit at a time. So here's where I start seasoning my cabbage. And I wanted to do something to give it a more authentic kind of barbecue taste. Not like barbecue sauce, but like you did this on the grill, didn't you? Kind of taste. I'm gonna be using one of my favorite rubs, Famous Dave's rib rub. Now this says rib rubs, but it's a really very balanced rub that you can use in just about almost anything. It's one of the most popular rubs out there. And then on the back end, just a little bit, just to give it a little tingle in your mouth, a little bit of that right there, Creole seasoning. So all throughout this cook, because I'm working in a skillet, only a little bit of my cabbage is exposed at any one time. So what I have to do is keep seasoning and flipping and seasoning. So you're gonna see me doing that throughout the rest of this cook. So I'm just gonna be giving it a nice liberal seasoning of the famous Dave's, and then coming back behind that and giving it a very light seasoning of the, a very light shake of the Creole seasoning. See that color it's taking on? It's cooking down a little more too. Still a little crunchy, but it's getting soft and it's cooking down. So I'm just gonna let this take its own sweet time. I'm gonna keep putting a little bit of this rub in here as I keep stirring it, just to make sure it's all coated. This is looking good, man. All right, let's get a quick taste. This is good. Really good. And I really like where it is right now as far as texture goes, because it's not overly really soft and limp. But it's not like super crunchy like it ain't done. It's got a little snap to it, and that rub is perfect. All of the seasonings are coming together. It's more than likely the smoke is gonna settle in even more the next day, so this is the perfect time to pull it. I think this is a win, man, and I really haven't seen anybody do it quite this way as far as smoked cabbage goes. So there it is, man. As you can see, very straightforward, very simple, nothing complicated at all. Cabbage itself, man, with that smoke on it was delicious. I've done a few sides. The only side dish that I've done on the grill that I liked better than this one was the peach bourbon baked beans. I'll put a link right here for you to watch that one. For the culture, it's right on the grill.